Once upon a time, an evil queen cast a powerful curse that trapped every single fairy tale character to our world. Then one day, the daughter of Snowy and Prince Charming, who was sent to the real world prior to the curse, was brought back on her 20th birthday to break a curse and face the forces of evil for seasons and years and of battles and twists and turns and little did they know about the prophecy of the final battle that one day the savior will die in the hands of an assassin that will bring back the happy endings and the cost of her own life. The final battle begins tonight, everybody. Right after we just watched a musical episode last week. That was a great way to end the night, right? Happily ever after, once upon a time could have just ended right there, but now we gotta face the final battle, so it's not the end. Tonight will mark the end of Once Upon a Time, not last week. Not the well, tonight will mark the end of Once Upon a Time. Yeah. But next week we're gonna watch Twice Upon a Time. Anyway, anyway. Not the end of this series, just end of the first Once Upon a Time. There will be a sequel next week. But this will be our last Once Upon a Time in Storybrooke. Welcome to Storybrooke. This is the last time we'll be in Storybrooke. This is the last Sunday night live stream. So let's do this. The final battle. But it's not the end of the series. It's so confusing because this is kind of the end of Once Upon a Time, but not the end of the series. So that's because season 7 is a reboot. And for those who don't know, it's not kind of what you think. It's not like other TV shows though. What's different about this reboot is it's still Once Upon a Time. It's not like other shows where you watch Full House and then there's Fuller House. You watch Boy Meets World and there's Girl Meets World. I gotta start Facebook, guys, so give me a second. But yeah. And Facebook's not telling me it's live yet. So anyway, well, Facebook. Well, I'm sorry you're late to the party. I started YouTube and totally forgot you. But anyone who's watching on Facebook, we were just talking about how tonight is the final night of Once Upon a Time. But not Once Upon a Time the series, just Once Upon a Time. Because next week it's going to be Twice Upon a Time. So anyway, so we were just talking about how it's the final battle tonight. We just finished the musical episode last week. That was a great way to end the series on, but too bad that's not the end. We still have to fight the final battle tonight, which is going to be tonight. But tonight does mark the end of not the series, but just Once Upon a Time. Here's my explanation of that I was telling people on YouTube is the fact that season 7 is a reboot and it's not like other shows like Full House, Fuller House, and Girl Meets World and Boy Meets World. It's not like that. They never made another series of Once Upon a Time. But season 6 was on the urge of cancellation until 2 days before the season finale aired. And because ABC didn't know how to promote this season finale, they just said season finale, even if it meant it was going to be the end of the series. However, the musical episode kind of revived the show a little bit, enough to give Once Upon a Time one last chance. Actually, the ratings of the musical episode are lower than other episodes. So actually, that's not the case, but it would seem so because it was really good. My favorite episode of the whole show. However, the final battle, I guess it didn't hype up the. I guess not to really say much, but it didn't hype up. Just pre-warning as you go into this, it didn't hype up the way it's been hyped, and it didn't pay off the way it was hyped up to be. So so I don't know if that's the reason why. I don't know, it just didn't do as good. However, Once Upon a Time ratings, yes, have dipped since like the Frozen arc, and this is at the point where it's so low that it's too low to promote on ABC, to the point they were just about to cancel it. However, when they mentioned the reboot idea to the ABC Studios team, they decided, okay, maybe try this reboot, but if it doesn't work, we're canceling the show. However, because they didn't necessarily cancel the show until after this reboot, it was attached onto the main series. So no, it's still Once Upon a Time. It's not a real reboot. It has some of the characters, but the way how Once Upon a Time takes place in Storybrooke, it takes place in a whole different city. It's not even taking Storybrooke is a town, and it takes place in a city. See, the reboot is, it's a whole different location in the real world. New characters with only uh partial 1/3 of the cast returning. So the series regulars of Once Upon a Time include Snow White, Charming, Emma Swan, Regina, Hook, Rumpelstiltskin, Belle, Henry, and the only ones that are returning. And there's also the Wicked Witch. The only ones who are returning are Hook, Regina, and Rumple. And then we do have Henry as the new protagonist to replace Emma after she dies in the final battle. But Henry, he's replaced by another actor because we take like a 20-year time jump, and Henry's an adult, so they can't have the child actor play Henry anymore. He does appear in flashbacks though, and then adult Henry's in present. So so yes. So yes, it's not a full-on reboot. It's still Once Upon a Time, but it's so different enough that it could feel like its own separate series. So tonight we're not going to worry about that though. Tonight we're going to watch the final battle of our main cast in Storybrooke. It's our last night in Storybrooke. Our main cast, main storyline, everything's going to be wrapped up. Every single storyline you've seen from seasons 1 through 6 is going to be wrapped up tonight. And then when the cliffhanger shows up that a reboot's about to start, um, you know, we'll start talking about that in May. And next week. But it won't be Sunday, and we won't be in Storybrooke. It will be a whole different day. Um Most likely Thursdays. Once Upon a Time season 7 aired on Fridays though. So I'm really hesitant on doing Fridays, but we might have to do Thursdays. I do work Friday nights, so we can't, if we want to stick to 3 episodes a week, we can't do Friday nights, and we can do 2 episodes on Friday night, but not 3. I'm really thinking of doing Thursday, and because of that. But I'm also thinking of doing Friday because Once Upon a Time aired on Fridays when they moved from Sunday to Friday during the reboot. Um, because it was almost an entire different show. Because it was almost an entire different show. They thought, well, why don't we just move it to Fridays? Because it doesn't feel right to keep it on Sunday. But anyway, we're not going to worry about that because we're watching the final battle tonight. We're going to start by watching our final recap special. They did not make one for season 7. It was so low budgeted that they couldn't afford it. It was just really bad, and that's why it got canceled after season 7. Unlike season 6, though, they got notified that it would be canceled way before they finished filming season 7. So the show does have a good ending, no cliffhangers, no unresolved plots. Even for this ones after they resolve everything in season 6, even when they start new ones in season 7, those get wrapped up. They are pretty rushed though, and a lot of storylines get skipped because it's only one season instead of 6. We don't get 6 seasons with the new cast. We only get one, so the reboot's only one season instead of 6. Most people like the OG Once Upon a Time anyway, so it's best to have that take most of the series. But as we're about to start a show, I started 4 minutes late, so I'm feeling okay starting a little after 7, but we do got to start by 7:04. We're gonna watch our recap special. It's called The Final Battle Begins. It's our chance to say goodbye to the cast and crew, not the creators, because they'll stick around for the final season. The reboot. And we'll not say goodbye to Captain Hook or the actor who plays Regina, or Rumpelstiltskin. But everyone else, get ready to say goodbye. We're gonna say goodbye to the whole cast first. And then once we say goodbye to the whole cast, once we spend 40 minutes saying goodbye to the whole cast and answering some fan Q&A questions, we'll jump into the season finale of season 6, which will wrap up the story and end Once Upon a Time, book 1. But then there will be a sequel, book 2. Now, it's kind of funny. I don't know how else to explain this. This is not like any other reboot. The reboot that we're going to start next week. It's not exactly a reboot. It's the same series, just mostly different. It's season 7, not season 1 of some other TV show. Like when you watch the first season of Fuller House, it's season 1, not season 5, of Full House, right? And when you watch Boy Meets World, it's when you get to Girl Meets World, it's not season 8 of Boy Meets World. It's how they are 2 separate series. Once Upon a Time is the opposite. It's season 7 instead of season 1. It's not because Once Upon a Time didn't technically get canceled. They thought there was no need to make a separate series like Once Upon a Time in Wonderland was. It's, it's just it's just an add-on to the original show. However, that is not the way to view it. When you go into season 7, just look at it as if it's a new series, because if you compare it to the other 6 seasons, you're going to be disappointed. It's not going to be as good as the other 6 seasons, but you might like it if you just enjoy it as its own separate identity. Um it's a great if you want to retitle it, you could call it Twice Upon a Time, but if you want to be serious, it's Once Upon a Time season 7. As much as I would want it to be Twice Upon a Time season 1, it's not. But anyway, we're not going to watch that tonight, so don't click off. We're watching your favorite cast. We're watching, the first 6 seasons here. We're watching the final battle. So stick around for that, but I understand if you don't want to stick around after tonight. But we're going to try to finish the series on Facebook and YouTube. So, though this is the last Sunday night in Storybrooke, and it's our last technically Once Upon a Time I'm calling it Twice Upon a Time. It's our last Once Upon a Time. We still got, it's not the end of the series, and we still got Twice Upon a Time and 8 more live streams of another season, right? So it's not goodbye for our live streams or Once Upon a Time marathon in general. It's just goodbye Storybrooke, goodbye to most of the cast, goodbye to the main storyline we've been following for over a year. So, all right, Once Upon a Time, let's get started. We're watching a recap special. I'll send you the link. And then we'll just kick things off. So do not pull up Disney Plus right now. Do not pull up Disney Plus. Hang on. I think I need to be on this one. All right. Yeah, do not pull up Disney Plus. But or your DVD collection. I'll send you the link to the first episode we're watching. You can only watch it on my YouTube channel. That's the only way to watch this episode. There is a playlist, but the videos are not sorted in order. And if you want to have the same reaction with me and be in sync with me, yeah, you're gonna just need this video that I have on my channel. Whoops, I went way too far down. Woo! Okay, where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay. Share, copy. I'll send the link in the chat. This is our first episode of the night. Everybody click this link that I'm about to send you. Okay? And then we'll do this. How about this? Facebook. What's your favorite part? What's your favorite part tonight? I don't know. Here is the link to our first episode. Only available on YouTube. Let's try this. There we go. There's the link. Click the link. Click the link. Click that episode link. We're gonna watch this first. Say goodbye to the cast and crew of the original Once Upon a Time's cast, and then we'll watch the final battle. And when that comes to an end, I pre-warned you, reboot starts next week. So, all right, we're gonna start the episode. Well, I was gonna start it. Hang on. Delete that. Okay, let's start the episode. Here we go. If everyone has their thing ready, the episode, it's 40 minutes and 30 seconds. That's how long I made it. I put all the clips together. I haven't seen this special a lot. Hang on. It's not starting from the beginning. Give me a second. How do I start all over? Hang on. It's not starting from the beginning, and my mouse is broken. I can't hold. Give me a second. Let me see if I could cancel. Okay, replay button. I got the replay button already. So, whoops. Okay, you know what? Okay, hang on. So it's at 0 seconds right now. Okay. 40 minutes and 31 seconds, in case you didn't know. Um, and we're gonna start and so and yes, you probably should know that. So that way you know I gave you the right link, right? It's called Final Battle Begins. We're all gonna start playing. We're gonna push play at the same time. Wait, push play when I say 0, not when I say 1. This is where I'm not going to give much commentary because you have the cast and the crew talking, giving a recap for me, but we will laugh and about the questions and talk about our favorite moments from the show as time goes on. Okay, so ready? Three, two, one, zero. Starting 10 minutes late. I'm so sorry. I'll try not to talk in between. We'll jump right into the finale right after this. We're turning the page. You remember that magic always comes with a price, and the story is not finished until the final battle is won. So yes, I haven't seen this episode enough times to know exactly how the clips go in order, but I did my best here. So here's my compilation of all the clips from the episode. It's at least 95% of the clips anyway, so we may not be 100% the episode, but we got I got most of it put together. Mhm. Tonight marks the final chapter of a tale that's captivated millions. But before we move on from this journey and look ahead to new adventures, let's remember and celebrate the heroes we come to love, the villains we learn to understand, and that love and that that true love. I don't remember what he said. That love is the most strongest power of all. So something like that. Hosted the narrator of ABC Studios. Their whole concept of making Once Upon a Time is they wanted to know what it was like to be the evil queen and what it was like not to have your happy ending, and this show explores that. Yeah, as I said, the joining off point of what the show became. Do we have to fear about the season finale tonight? No. What can we expect in season 7? That's the next question Adam and Eddie got. Just believe season 7 is going to be a great season. Mhm. Yep. The loss of belief is one of the most damaging things that can happen to you. Relate that to the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you damage your testimony, it's one of the worst things that can happen to you. Why do you need to believe? In this case, why do you need to believe in fairy tales and magic? Why do you know? Rumple did say in the pilot that the final battle would begin after the curse was broken, and now it's time for it to happen. The curse has been broken for about a year now, and now it's about time we finish the final battle. Everything has been built up to this moment, from the pilot to now. So so what to expect in season 7. Think of tonight as an ending of a book, an ending of a chapter, and an opening of a new one, and a new book. So think of it like that. It's gonna be completely different by the time we finish tonight's episodes. You've loved the show for 6 seasons, and we've been doing a marathon for over a year on these 6 seasons. What at what point did you fall in love with our marathon and the show? Snow and Charming, who are played by Jennifer Goodwin and Josh Dallas, say the pilot is their favorite episode, their favorite moment of when they fell in love with the show. That also made them fall in love in real life and got married. It is a ginormous movie, honestly. Yep, they do have something special, that's for sure. That's Regina's favorite episode as well. Lana Paria's favorite episode is, the pilot. We came a long way since then. The characters are dramatically different. Yep. Trying to fix my hair, don't mind me. There. Is my hair better? Maybe not. I don't want you to see my bald spot, honestly. So Henry's favorite episode is the pilot as well, and he's loved every minute of the Once Upon a Time ever since. What's your favorite moment or episode from Once? So another favorite of Jennifer Goodwin, Josh Dallas, who plays Snow Charming, is episode 3 when they first met well, not on set, but when we discover the origin stories of how Snow and Charming first met. That's their favorite episode. You already know mine. Mine's the musical episode. So, yeah. Once Upon a Time is meant to, these fairy tales, you know the lore, you've seen the Disney movie even. But Once Upon a Time tries to take these stories further and show you the behind the scenes that are not in the movies or the books. Hmm. Yeah, Snow and Charming really do love each other. Moving on to Rumple and Belle. Emily D. Raven's favorite episode is her first day on set, which is season 1, episode 12, the Beauty and the Beast episode. Good flashback to season 1, right? We're talking a lot about season 1 right now. Aside from my favorite episode being last week. Favorite moment in Yeah, so Belle's favorite moment in her favorite episode is when she falls off the curtains into Belle Rumple's arms. I don't know if you remember that scene. That's one of their first times falling in love on that episode. Hmm. Yep. Yep, Belle doesn't hide anything from Rumple. She tells it how it is, and if Rumple doesn't behave and doesn't want to become a hero like she wants him to be, then they can't be together. What a journey. Their relationship was really toxic, wasn't it? Just replying to my mom's comment. She's the only one that's been commenting on my live streams quite a bit. Haha! There's our Back to the Future reference. Remember, Emma and Hook, Jennifer Morrison and Colin O'Donoghue's favorite episode was the Back to the Future one, the season 3 finale time travel episode. We get nods back to that. In these once upon a time recaps. Hook talks about going to watch Back to the Future as a character for the first time. And it just never happens because of chaos that happens in the show. But he's like saying, I think Hook is finally going to be able to watch Back to the Future since everyone's getting their happy endings tonight, at least for 20 years. So, yeah, go watch Back to the Future. Finally, right? That will be our last Back to the Future reference technically the you know, that time travel episode won't be talked about again. No special recap for season 7. Hooks actually I was wrong. Emma's favorite episode, Jennifer Morrison's favorite episode is the time travel Back to the Future episode, but Colin O'Donoghue's actually has a different one. He's mentioning season episode 4, his first day on set, meeting Robert Carlyle, who plays Rumple, and calling him a coward and Hook, back when he was a villain. So, yep, we get to find out the reasons of why Hook became a pirate and evil because Rumple killed his girlfriend and his ex-wife, who was Rumple's ex-wife. What do you like about Regina and Snow slash Mary Margaret's relationship? It's kind of evolved over the years. It went from bad to good. Yep. History has some good moments and has some bad ones. Snow and Regina, the evil queen and Snow White, and the fairest of them all. So Snow White likes the scene where in season 2, episode 17, after killing Cora, Regina rips out her heart, but instead of crushing it and getting the revenge she wants, she realizes Snow White's darkening her heart, and she's like, "I'd rather have you turn evil than be killed." So that's when Regina decides not to kill her anymore until she splits herself in half, and then her other self wants to kill her in season 6. But then she decides again not to kill him and put him under a sleeping curse that's unbreakable until a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I know me messing with my hair could be annoying and unprofessional, but I kinda like that. Hang on. Yeah, Regina and Snow's relationship has gone a lot better since then. Uh, okay, my hair's it's good enough. Yeah, hope is a choice. Next question. Woo! I think that was a little cut off, but there was no clip following that, so we have had a lot of universe stories, like, we had, in one of the multi-universe stories is the Isaac one, where Snow White's the evil queen, and Regina's the bandit. We have the Witch Realm, which Emma's talking about. Emma's favorite alternate reality is the Witch Realm. How many alternate realities have we had in Once Upon a Time? Let's see. Our first one was Emma and Hook's time travel adventure. They did change the past about how Snow and Charming met, so you can call that an alternate reality, and it's the same alternate reality we've been living in ever since. That one never got fixed, but because most of the history actually stays the same, Emma and Hook fixed everything. But we can count that as our first alternate reality. Then we have the Isaac one, who makes the heroes lose and the villains win. Evil Snow White, yeah. Z Charming's looking talking about that one. That's their favorite alternate reality. Emma, Emma, Emma's favorite alternate reality is the which one? I think wait, Back to the Future, Heroes and Villains. What's the other alternate? And then Wish Realm. There's only been three alternate realities in once upon a time. I thought there was a lot more. Never mind. Oh, there is an alternate reality tonight. We're gonna change the past again, where where Emma never broke the curse with True Love's kiss, and I hate to spoil the finale a little bit, but we're going back to the season one curse, where Emma didn't break the curse with True Love's kiss after Henry ate the poison apple, and so there's that alternate reality. Boom, we got four. We got four. Season seven has some alternate realities too, I guess, but we're not going to talk about them right now. For the first six seasons, there's only four. They are really good at avoiding time travel paradoxes because that's too confusing for a show like this, especially when you have too many fairy tales to keep track of. You can't deal with time travel. You have a lot there. The difference between Regina and the past seasons, well, she went from bad to good, back to evil, back to good, then separated herself. The reason why I say that is because she almost did turn evil when Emma brought Marion back, but then she decided not to, and then she separated herself in season five. You can't separate yourself in real life, true, but the lesson is you learn to love yourself. It must have been hard for Lana to play two characters at once. That's crazy, and to do a split screen to make it so she could play the Evil Queen and Regina at the same time. Regina's favorite episode, Lana Priya's favorite episode is season six, episode 14, which is an episode we watched like 3 weeks ago. You know, the evil queen finally loves herself and decides not to kill herself and sends her to the wish realm to fall in love with Robin. So happy ending for that the evil queen. The our Regina, the one that's been reformed for seasons, not the evil queen that just got redeemed a few weeks ago. You know, the good Regina. She's still yet to find her happy ending. Hopefully in season seven. She does get a new love interest. The Once Upon a Time family tree is a mess. Well, we could just say that. That's true. Yeah. Once Upon a Time is about protecting family, having hope in family, having faith in family. It's a family show. That's for sure. Wow, back we're getting flashbacks from season two. That's crazy. Love the Once Upon a Time recap specials. Yeah. Yeah. That is helpful to have a Once Upon a Time show that shows complications of family and different varieties of family. And you know, if you're a person with a single mother, or a person with a single father, or gay people, or whatever, you know, if family, you got all kinds of those families at once upon a time. Yep, you work together as a team. That's for sure. I got a message from someone. Let's see what it is. It's a family. Yep, once upon a time it's a family show. Families spend time together fighting villains mostly, but still, there's those moments of grannies they celebrate before the next chaos happens. Wow, the Wicked Witch's favorite line is from season six, episode 13, and she says, "Grand Aunt's grocery isn't my thing." To Robin Hood, the Wish from Robin Hood. That's her favorite line. She likes that. Yeah, Emma has so many lines she likes. You can't pick a favorite. Magic comes with a price. That's a good line. That's Jennifer Morrison's favorite line. All magic comes with a price. That's mine too. I would say that. All things come with a price. Anything I work on comes with a price. Bring it Queenie. Wow, so Lana Priya, who plays Evil Queen, her favorite line is "Slay the bitch" from season 3, episode 1. When they're fighting a mermaid and a storm on their way to Neverland. Wow. Like, which does have some scenes, yeah. If you were Granny, how what would you do? What would you change about the diner, guys? If you were Granny, what would you do? Yeah, change the prices immediately. They're too expensive. The prices are way too high, according to David, charming guy, Josh. Cook doesn't know what a map is. So yeah, so Hook and Charming are both saying we would lower the prices and make Granny's an app so you can do take to go instead of eating at Granny's. You can take it to go and eat it at home. Yeah, Granny doesn't. The reason why Granny's doesn't have the pickup order system, or the reason why you can't do takeout, is because Granny likes the contact. She hates when people just come to get their food and leave. So yeah, well, Lana Priya, who plays the Evil Queen, does not show up in Granny's. If you realize in the show, she does not go to Granny's often. She misses most of the parties to eat lasagna at home. According to her words, not mine. Yeah, no one pays for their meal at Granny's. Yeah, did you realize these fairy tale characters, when they go to Granny's to take a breather, then the next chaos and plot happens where another villain comes to town and they forget to pay their meal. They run to defeat a wraith. They run to defeat Arthur. Whatever the chaos may be, keep one time interesting. They forget to pay Granny on their way out. Honestly, they have a tab on Granny. They have a 6 year tab, 6 seasons, 6 year tab on Granny, and are they are way behind on their debts. They need to pay. They need to pay their Granny bills. Honestly, you can't just eat food for free. So remember, Rumpelstiltskin had got a haircut in this season. It was near the beginning, and the question is, do you like his haircut? What would you do differently? What an interesting question. So you're putting the dwarfs on a basketball team, and the team they're going against is the Munchkins from Oz. Who would win, honestly, between the Munchkins and the Seven Dwarfs? Yeah. Or we can get together on Mother's Day. Sorry, guys, I'm texting someone. But the episode's still playing, so don't mess your sync thing. Bum, 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 bum. So many people are texting. So, sorry guys, sorry. Was responding to important messages. But yes, Adam and Eddie, from what I've been listening, are talking about how they transform these Disney movies into a television show and combine them and do crossovers and stuff and do their own twists and turns on the movies that Disney made. So it's mostly a Disney show, focuses on the Disney version of the characters, even though fairy tales existed before Disney interpreted them. And they go mostly on the Disney version, so they try to tell their own version of the Disney Snow White, their own version of Disney's Pinocchio. So Snow and Charming love story of the year. Deepest thoughts, please. Interesting. See, when I was recording this and putting the clips together, it wanted to know if I was still watching, and I didn't realize I was covering the screen, and I didn't want to remake the video. I didn't want to start all over because putting these clips together is so hard. First of all, they're from a different YouTube channel. They're not my clips, and I have to record them from YouTube without copyright. And so you have to understand how hard that is, and I hate to start all over. So sorry for the little error message that popped up. That's not actually happen. That's not on your screen. That's not on my screen. That's just what I recorded. I got rid of it. You see, it's gone. Apparently, my laptop wants to know if I'm still watching. Right? Of course, I am. Love is the most powerful magic of all. They say that on Once Upon a Time, Charming. Hey, we're getting flashbacks from season 3. Snow saved Charming's life by cutting her heart in half when they cast the second curse. Storybrooke. Not to mention the third curse that Emma cast in Camelot. And now the Black Fairy is about to cast her fourth curse. Actually, they say in Once Upon a Time there's 9 curses. But I don't know if some of those curses count. You have to be cursed in Storybrooke and you have to forget who you are or forget the previous time. So if you want to count that, there's been only 4 curses at once upon a time. Black Fairy's curse is number 4. There is one in season 7, but since we haven't watched that in our marathon, I'm not counting that yet. There's even one more curse in the series finale, so there's technically 6 when you finish the whole series. But 4 if you don't want to count season 7. So if you can describe the season finale in 3 words, what would it be? They say this every time. When it's like describe season 6 in 3 words, describe season 5 in 3 words. Since this is still season 6, was describe the season finale in 3 words. I know the 3 words I would say. The final battle. Duh. Or happy endings. Everyone gets happy endings. There you go. So it's all about people finding their happy endings. And after 6 years, or 1 year for us, after 6 seasons, I should say, of trying to find them, it's about time most people got their happy endings. Yeah, the best partnership like Captain Swan and Outlaw Queen, the best thing to have ever happened to you in your life is to have someone who accepts both the good and bad in you and accepts and vice versa. Guys, we have already went through 30 minutes through this recap special. There's only 10 minutes left before we actually start the real finale. Neverhook's proposal to marry Emma, that was a couple weeks ago. That was really well done. They proposed in Snow White and Charming's apartment. Not the best location, but okay. Next question, behind the lens. Guys, do we have to worry about what's coming in the season finale? Yeah, as Isaac said, best cliffhanger of the entire show. The Savior fights the final battle. No one wants to be around to watch that, so don't show up tonight if you don't want to see her die. Right? So, Adam and Addie said for the season finale, if you're really worried about Emma dying in the final battle, don't worry about it. That's your choice. Enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, we'll see Violet again in the season finale. She shows up, by the way, with Henry's girlfriend from season 5. Will there be a zombie season? I don't know if I would want to see that. See, Adam and Eddie said, hasn't there already been a zombie season? Didn't we write an episode that had a zombie season? Yes, season season 2. Cora brought a lot of living people back from the dead just to stop Snow and Emma from going back to Storybrooke. Will the Blackberry die in the season finale? Isaac, Adam and Eddie accidentally dropped the bomb, saying, "Well, that's like me sitting here and saying yes. How do we answer that question?" But you just spoiled it. Blackberry dies. We know every villain dies in Once Upon a Time. Not every villain, but whenever there's a major arc or a half season arc, it usually wraps up with either the villain dying, getting a redemption arc, or you know, or just keep getting pushed off the center stage. So, are the ogres misunderstood? Maybe not. And will we get another Seven Dwarf backstory? Well, they're not in season 7, so no. But they don't want to spoil. This is back when it didn't air yet, so they didn't want to spoil. So they said, "Well, we might do another Seven Dwarf backstory," but from my experience seeing the show end, they don't do it. So if you want to know what happened to Dopey, um, because he how is Dopey no longer a tree? From the Camelot arc, because he's been completely forgotten about and tossed to the side. Well, he untreed himself and he got his master's in Boston. That's why he's not on the show anymore. That's their explanation. What was your favorite Star Wars reference? I can only name two. Emma, like Adam and Eddie said, Princess Emma, when she called herself Princess Leia, and then also when Henry tells the Evil Queen, "You're not going to Darth Vader me." When the Evil Queen tries to darken Henry's heart, and he's like, "You're not going to Darth Vader me. You're not going to turn me to the dark side." We got a lot of Star Wars references in Once Upon a Time. Final battle is just moments away, guys. Get ready. 8 minutes till we start the finale. Emma's journey has been a long one, and I'm sad we're not going to see it continue in season 7. We will actually see her kid. Sorry, we will see it kind of continue. The actress has offered to return for only one episode, so we will see it wrap up, I guess. But I mean, she's not the protagonist after the tonight, so it's going to be sad to say goodbye to Emma Swan and switch our protagonist to Henry. Emma was the star of the show. She was the center stage, and now Henry's going to take over her spot because she doesn't want to be in season 7. She's only signed a 6-year contract. And now that expires, she doesn't want to renew it. There's also some actors that wanted to return for season 7, but the writers fired them because they wanted to get it as new as possible. Again, feels like a whole different show next season. But tonight we don't have to worry about that because we're just watching the end of season 6. We're watching the finale after the musical episode. Speaking of musical episode, this is the next question. Did you have a good time at the Captain Swanette wedding? This was the musical episode we watched last week. Remember, it was a great way, besides the final battle, to end this part of the show. We watched the musical episode. It was a great way to end. And people thought Jennifer Morris was getting married, and they're like, "No, no, no! Don't congratulate me. We're not really getting married." Yeah, Emma Hook had a lot of things they had to overcome before they could be a final couple of the show. They had them, before they could put a ring on it. There was some challenges, some secrets, but now they wanted to do this when it was perfect, and doing the wedding during a musical episode is the perfect combination. Wedding plus musical episode. That's a good episode right there. That's my favorite episode. I'm glad they're talking about it. You hit with the musical episode. You hit a big point in the series that there's nothing left to do but see until the final battle. They literally ran out of ideas for the episode, and that's why they went with the musical episode just to fill up, the 22 episode spot. 21 and 22 that we're watching tonight is the final battle, of course. But you need a episode leading up to that, and it's like, well, why not do a musical episode? Make everyone feel happy before they're worsened tonight. Just kidding. There's still a happy ending for everyone tonight. We're gonna finalize everyone's happy ending, and then we're gonna jump into a re. So To be fair, if you don't like musical episodes, Once Upon a Time is an exception, you have to say, because Disney movies are known for being musicals. And since this is a fairy tale based on all the Disney movies of classics of Cinderella, Snow, and Beauty and the Beast that all have songs in it, it's nice to explore that musical aspect in Once Upon a Time. Even if it's only for one episode. They did say it was Once Upon a Time's first musical episode, but they never really made another one, probably because the show got canceled before they got the chance. So it may be the first musical episode, but it's the only one really. Some of you might be glad, but it's actually a good musical episode. You gotta watch it. You might like it, even if you don't like musicals. It might be an exception for you. Moving on. It was fun, but that musical episode was still last week. We gotta fight the final battle. Has this season taught you much? It has taught me a lot about family, hope, and faith. Not everything's black and white, and our heroes and villains, they're just flawed characters, and there's a gray area. Once Upon a Time is unlike Disney. There's no certain villain or hero. There's kind of an in between. There are reasons for their evil acts. There are reasons why they're good. Every hero has the potential to be a villain, and every villain has the potential to be a hero. That's what we learned. Evil Queen is now the good queen. Have you seen Emma Swan, our protagonist, become an evil antagonist in season 5? Even being good, but fighting and being good won't stop the future. Well, hey, count your blessings, right? That you have a family and that you have people that love you, even if that means you're gonna die. Oh my god, my laptop's about to die, guys. Don't worry, it's not dying now. Just grab the cord. I forgot. I should have done that before we started this live stream. Luckily, it's not dead. Keep watching. See, I'm still here. You know it can die. Otherwise, my live stream shut down. So I liked what Emma said in season 6, episode 5. I teased about it a lot in our marathon, and I didn't want to spoil it, but since we're past that episode now, when Emma told in the Aladdin episode, when Emma told Henry, let's not worry about the end of the story. The end of the story sucks. Let's enjoy the middle of the adventure together. Now, it is kind of the end of a story tonight, so I hope you enjoyed the middle. However, because of our reboot, we're still in the middle. So I'm still going to apply this message. Enjoy the middle, because 8 weeks from now, it will be the real end of the marathon. This is just a joking end, but it will be a real end, even to the reboot, because it's only one season, one 22-episode season, not 6 seasons like this one has. But, the OG cast, they got a lot more time than the reboot. So keep in mind that the reboot's only one season, and you got to just enjoy the middle while you can. That's why I know. That's what. Sorry, that's a little loud. But but um, but just as Snow said at the end of this recap, she says that's how I know we'll win the final battle because Emma won't face it alone. And you know, and then as ABC wraps up their narration, they said, "Let the countdown begin! The final seconds to the final battle. Once upon a time." And as we recap the end of the Hook and Emma's wedding, and Blackberry's first gets cast all to Olive Storybrooke. Credits roll. That's our recap special. I hope you enjoyed it. Who is ready to move on to Once Upon a Time season finale of season 6? Man, we had so many great moments this show. We started with fairy tale characters trapped in the real world. Evil Queen was our antagonist, but then she got a redemption arc. Emma continued fighting battles as the savior. And now it's time for her to fight her final destiny in the final battle. well, well, that was our last recap special. What do you guys have to say about that? Like literally, that's it. No more recap specials. If you need a recap before season 7, I'm sorry, can't give you one. Um, but yeah, that was our last Once Upon a Time special, like recap special. So we have finished the Wonderland series, the recap specials. Now it's just finish the show. Um, but we're gonna watch the season 6 finale. Which imagine if they didn't do a season 7, this would be our last live stream, but it's not. Season 7 is a reboot. So but it is the end of Once Upon a Time tonight. Essentially, you could say the first Once Upon a Time. Season 7 feels like its own separate thing. But like, end of book 1 and we'll move on to book 2 next week, right? Or next weekend. And again, I plan not to do that one on Sunday nights. So this will be, so let's just enjoy this last Sunday night while we still can, right? So it's still the end of a lot of things in this marathon, but not the marathon itself. This is why I'm hyping it as the final night, because most of the things we've been doing every single Sunday night is going to change after tonight. So it's like I just like season 7. I want to make things completely different when going forward. Like it is pretty much the end of almost everything other than keeping the marathon on itself. We will still do the marathon next week, but like, okay, yeah, I'm tired. You're probably sick of me explaining this over and over again, but you get the gist. All right, let's watch the season 6 finale of Once Upon a Time. Also, along with the finality and stuff, I mentioned I'm making some changes as far as not starting 10 minutes early, even if we switch to Thursday or Friday. We'll start, I told you we're going to start at 6:58, and then instead of going till 9:30, we'll stop at 9:15 and not talk too much at the end. And so anyway, there will be less talking as well. So this is our last time of me talking too much. You can say, right? All right. So if you have your Disney Plus open and you have Once Upon a Time opened, on DVD or Hulu or Disney Plus, go to season 6, episode 21. It's called The Final Battle Part 1, okay? And it's a two-parter. It's a big finale. It's a double-length episode. So, as we're watching this together, I would invite you to make another tab or go on another device, get The Final Battle Part 2 ready so we could just start it right when the credits roll. No recap. Let's try to make this one big long episode. I hate when streaming services cut it in half, you know what I mean? So anyway, but yeah, essentially, let's start the season finale, part 1. Okay, 42 minutes and 37 seconds. In case you wanted to know how long it was, that way you know you're on the right episode. It's called The Final Battle Part 1, season 6, episode 21. 42 minutes and 37 seconds. Pause it if you're not ready, but I'm going to start playing in three. Wait until I say 0. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 0. See, it's a whole recap of 6 seasons. We're getting a whole recap of the pilot. Emma, Henry eating the poison apple. Emma breaking the curse in season 1. Seeing in Neverland, Oz, uh, Underworld, Camelot. Whoa, Emma, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. Throw the sword, kill the dragon. Um, and yes, again, Neverland, Enchanted Forest, Oz, Underworld, Camelot, Arendelle, Hook's wedding, and then Hook get married. We had just had the musical episode. That's a good recap, right? There we go. Enchanted Forest, a many at a time of Great Haven. So not many years ago, just at a time of Great Haven. So this could be future or past. You got a man running through the woods. Why is he running? Why is he scared? Good question. You got a man and his daughter. Who is this man and who is this daughter? We'll find out by the end of the season. So this little girl is on a quest to protect the Once Upon a Time book that once belonged to Henry, and now it belongs to her. And so, anyway, yep. So this is a whole different time period and a whole different land of fairy tales. And just like this, it comes to show that this is not the first time this happened. Emma Swan was not the first. Again, we already know she's not the first savior, but she's not. This isn't the first time someone tried to cast a curse to trap everyone in the real world, and this isn't the first time Henry's book was very powerful. Once Henry's book is another person's treasure. Honestly, right? Once Henry, once a Henry's old book is another person's treasure, and it's the beanstalk. That's the that we're gonna go giant in the Jack and the Beanstalk in the finale because you saw the beanstalk in the thumbnail. And again, this is just again, I know we saw this scene like 5 times tonight, but this is recapping us of where we left off with Hook and Emma's wedding and Black Fairy's curse transporting everyone. And now we're gonna see where she transported everyone to. Man, Henry's just on the rooftop. No wedding, everyone's gone. And Henry is holding his book. Interesting. He's like, "Where did the wedding go? What happened?" Right? Wow, the town is so season one aged. Looks like it the way it did back when it was season one. Leaves all over the floor. It must be fall. A lot of dog barking. It's so quiet. Ooh, yeah. What did the Black Fairies first do? Honestly, yep, she did. She made everyone forget who they are again for the fourth time. Except when Emma cast her curse, they just forgot their time in Camelot. When Snow and Charming cast their curse, they just forgot. Well, a year of their life. So it's not really forgetting who they are. They haven't forgotten who they were since season one. This is kind of cool. Because this was almost going to be a series finale, they wanted to rehash season one by making everyone forget who they were just one last time. Obviously, that did not end up being the case because they got renewed at the last second, 2 days before this aired. And then, they promote their episodes a week in advance. So why didn't they say series finale if they didn't know it got renewed? Well, they wanted to play safe. If they said series finale, then they would be lying. I mean, I guess I've looked it up through Google AI and stuff. It has showed me some shows that had more than one series finale where they literally promoted a series finale and then they decided to renew it. So anyway, I guess it could happen, but I like a series to only have one series finale and that's it. I don't like multiple. So I'm for one kind of glad they decided to play safe and call it season finale, and then boom, they got renewed. Honestly. So Henry's going to visit his mother Emma, and he's wondering what happened to everyone in the curse. And Emma, Emma's just thinking he's crazy, just like she did in season one. Henry's a lot different than season one. He's so much more mature, and he's midway through his teenage years, and he's hit puberty a lot. He looks way different than he did when he was 10. So, so if you haven't caught the just by now, you know Black Fairy's Curse brought everyone back to season one, and it's an alternate reality where Henry ate the poison apple. Yes, the Black Fairy is Henry's mother. So in this alternate reality, it wasn't Regina who cast the curse; it was the Black Fairy. And then 28 years later, Emma came to Storybrooke. The same events happened in season one, except for instead of Regina, the evil queen, you got Black Fairy, and so Henry has now four mothers. Honestly. Regina, the evil queen from the Wish Realm, Emma, and the Black Fairy. That's crazy. So yes, in this world, just like the Wish Realm where it parted ways with Regina's curse. This one parted ways after Henry ate the poison apple, and Emma's true love's kiss did not wake him. Therefore, the curse didn't break, and she went to a mental asylum for believing in fairy tales. 'Cause remember, Emma believed in fairy tales before she kissed Henry. When Henry went to the hospital, she started believing in fairy tales. And in this version, instead of the evil queen, she went with Fiona, the black fairy, to go slay a dragon. And then when she came back up and realized that true love's kiss didn't work, Fiona used that to her advantage, that she was delusional, believing in fairy tales, and sent her to a insane asylum for 2 years. So that tells you it's been 2 years since the curse broke, but that is plot hole because that's a whole plot hole. That's a whole mess of plot because Henry was 10 and and Black Fairy literally says in this episode later on that he's a 14-year-old boy. How do you say that's 2 years? That's four. Even if he was almost 11, if he was 10, almost 11, you can't say anything less than 3 years. Like, how's this 2 years after? Anyway, he was still 10 when the curse broke. He turned 11 at some point in season two. Honestly, the writers messed up the timeline slightly, but maybe, yeah. Who cares if Henry's age is wrong? So if you ignore that, it's still a perfect finale. So yes, and then obviously Henry tries to make Emma believe in fairy tales again. 2 years later, after being locked away in a insane asylum, and Black Fairy comes to stop him and sends him to school. And Black Fairy makes Emma drink her medicine. See, now not everyone is cursed. Not everyone forgot who they were. Some of them went back to the Enchant Forest, remembered who they were, and they just got ripped away from the wedding and brought back to the Enchant Forest. So this curse is a little different. It's not as simple as everyone forgot who they were again. That would be boring. They made it a little bit twisty with half of the fairy tale characters in another world. Still remembering who they are, but they can't get back to the real world because they're trapped in the fairy tale land. So you got a double curse going on. Anyone who's still Storybrooke is stuck in Storybrooke and they don't know who they are. Anyone who went to the Enchant Forest is stuck in the Enchant Forest, but they know who they are at least. They're trying to get back to the people who don't know who they are. And all the realms are being destroyed, as I shared in the trailer from last week. All the worlds are being destroyed. So much going on in this finale. Archie, Jiminy Cricket, has not been in the show a lot, and it's nice to have him come back a lot in season 6. That wasn't Emma's fault, Black Fairy. What are you talking about, mother of Rumpelstiltskin? It's Emma's fault that Henry still believes in fairy tales. She's been locked away for 2 years. What could have she done? Hmm. Whoa, do not burn Henry's book. Do not do it. Someone else will need that in the future. Believe in something that isn't real is dangerous. Well, How can a fairy tale be dangerous unless you're really insane about it and you go way too far in it, right? Mhm. Yeah, the black fairy is a little evil. She sounds nice at the start, but then when Emma decides not to give up her fairy tale fantasy, trying to break the truth to Henry, honestly, if you have a 14-year-old boy, they should stop being a child. They're almost 4 years away from being an adult. But in this case, when fairy tales are real, with Emma still clinging to not wanting Henry to stop believing, um, Black Fairy threatens her and says that, "Well, you'll be locked up until you do, until you stop his beliefs." Well, how could you do that from a jail cell? And the Black Fairy's like, "Burn the book." And Emma doesn't wanna burn the book, so. So, but everyone who did not get forget who they were, and everyone who went back, the half of the fairy tale characters that went back to the fairy tale land are watching the Black Fairy through a mirror. I guess the mirror can transfer to the real world. Anyway, they're watching the Black Fairy torture Emma, and they wanna get back to her and save her from the mental asylum as much as possible. They can't because they're trapped in the fairy tale land, about to be destroyed and killed to death. Yep. If Emma destroys the book, all the realms of fairy tale will be destroyed, and everyone in them. All the realms of story. Yep. Oz, Arendelle, anything from a Disney movie will be destroyed. Yep, everyone in them. That's the death of billions and billions and billions of people. What a finale. Luckily, it's not, we don't see the bloodshed of it, but everyone dies if Emma doesn't believe in fairy tales. Honestly, that's a great premise, right? You have to believe in fairy tales if you want everyone to be alive. They went to, we haven't seen the Mad Hatter's hat since season one, so that's kind of a good callback. And jumping to the center of all realms and seeing each one be destroyed one by one. My goodness. We're seeing what Rumple got out of this because he's a betrayer. He did not kill the Black Fairy like they wanted him to. He joined her and betrayed his family again. When do you learn your lesson, Rumple? When? Black Fairy's evil. She acts nice. She wants to help Rumple and Gideon, but you're the one who separated Belle and made her abandon her son in the first place. With curses, you don't have much agency. You get the life you get. Aladdin and Jasmine are back. Agrabah just got destroyed, so that's why they're here. Where's the Elsa characters, right? The actors were able to come back, so they thought they could get a cameo. Like a magic bean. What do you mean? He has a theory. Hook might not have magic, but he can go to magical items. Like his hook. Yeah. And Regina will do whatever it takes to get to Emma and Henry in the real world. Hook runs away though, because he's more desperate to get Emma and Henry back. He doesn't want to wait for Regina to solve the problem. He wants to see if he can find a magic bean before Regina uses her magic. Emma's doing push-ups. Henry is breaking Emma out, just like Emma used to do when she was a thief married to Neil. Black Fairy's never letting you out, Emma. So why don't you just break out with Henry? Huh. And Hook's gonna climb a beanstalk. This is where Jack and the Beanstalk comes in, right? Hook climbing the beanstalk to find a magic bean in the giant's keeper. Charming caught you sneaking away, haha. Like father-in-law, like son-in-law. Wow, they're really getting along better than they used to in season 3 and 4 and 2. I mean, you just got married. No way you would want to get killed. So let Charming protect you. You don't want it to be a short wedding like Emma was worried about. Remember how they wanted to postpone their wedding because they didn't want to make it short? Well, that didn't end up happening because Rumple faked the Black Fairy's death and they had the wedding anyway. So honestly, there's a high chance that Hook could be whittled and that and that Emma and Hook's wedding would be short. But anyway, Hook's not going to let that happen. Final battle is not a war; it's a battle for Emma's soul, for her belief. That's the Savior's destiny. A fight against belief, and they die to protect it. Yep, we've been through many curses. Just because a fairy cast another bloody curse, I'm not going to stop finding Emma. Don't forget, Charming is her father. He cares about Emma as much as you do, Hook. Why don't you guys work together and climb the beanstalk and find the bean? Let's climb. It's gonna take you a minute. It's cloudy too. It's not sunny like it was in season 2. Cloudy, cloudy beanstalk. Emma's so delusional. She's trying to play along with Henry as a joke, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah. If fairy tales are real, then who did I marry? Captain Hook. Who was who theated Tinkerbell? No, it was Jimmy Cricket. Even when you don't believe in fairy tales, you get it wrong." Anyway, she thinks by going back to the place she got married, she can remember. She's starting to have flashbacks. See, she's starting to remember a little bit, but she's also been in a mental hospital for years and doesn't trust her memory. So she's being rational, like an adult, honestly. Yeah, because Emma has a high record of criminally and acting insane, so she needs to live low and live on her own for a while, take a break from fairy tale life. So Henry, Henry has a plan though. He wants Emma to stay here and fight for everyone's happy endings, just like the prophecy of the Savior states. But Emma doesn't want to. She wants to go back to her apartment in New York, and she hasn't been there since the pilot. I mean, I guess she kind of went back in season 3 during the year curse, but I think that was a different apartment. Um, so anyway, it didn't look the same, and if it, and, especially since they moved from Boston to New York, and so anyway, so she wants to go back to Boston to her old hotel, which we haven't seen since the pilot. So yeah, she's gonna go back, and obviously she's not gonna be 28; she's gonna be 30. So her 28th candle is gonna be so outdated. Um, I would argue that she is elite 32 with Henry's age. So yeah, they should have put 4 years instead of two. Hmm. It is kind of funny. So Rumble and Gideon are having a father-son talk about whether Belle loved them or not because she abandoned Gideon as a baby. Well, that's kind of funny and ironic to what really happened. Um, because no, Rumple did not want to abandon his child. But remember how Belle sent Gideon away because she didn't trust Rumple? In a way, I guess they both abandoned their baby. But in a way, Belle was trying to raise Gideon without Rumple originally, right? And now Rumple's raising Gideon without Belle. It's like the other way around. Gideon, would have almost grew up, thinking that Rumple never loved him because Belle would keep him away from his evilness. But then, the Black Fairy's Curse did a little twist where Gideon thinks Belle's the bad guy and the toxic lover who can't choose good, and ran away. Anyway, it's kind of funny. It gives the father and son to grow up together, honestly. But anyway, it is kind of funny though about Emma's apartment really quick. It is kind of interesting that Henry, though he wants to keep Emma here, he's gonna let her leave, but he has a plan up his sleeve to help Emma change her mind because she doesn't want Emma to be locked up. So she's trying to honor her wishes. He's trying to honor her wishes, but he has a plan anyway. Mhm. Wicked Witch is like, "Oh, come on, sisters," because Regina and the Evil Queen, 2 different people now. So Wicked Witch has 2 sisters, and she's like, "Come on, you guys love your outfits too much. This is crisis here. All the fairy tale worlds are about to die, and you're just talking about your dresses." Honestly. Anyway, so the Evil Queen, who we sent to the Wish Realm so many weeks ago, is now back. Because apparently okay, remember when Emma was in the Wish Realm and Regina tried to wake her up by crushing Snow and Charming's hearts? Well, apparently, Henry and the knights, Henry's the only heir to the throne now because Emma's gone and Snow and Charming are dead. And so Henry using the knights and to find Emma you know and to find Regina to pay for Snow and Charming's death, right? I told you that was gonna bite back in the face, but like I didn't mean in this way. It's gonna come back again in the reboot. But aside from all that, okay, do not worry about the reboot right now. In the final battle, in the original 6 seasons, in the final battle, as we're watching the final battle right now, um, it is note to say that because Henry, saw the evil queen kill his grandparents, he doesn't know about duplicate versions yet. And so when he sees when he sees not the wish realm evil queen, sorry, when he sees the Jacqueline Heights serum evil queen alone with Robin Hood in a tavern, he's like, arrest her! She killed my grandparent. And so anyway, pitchforks, kind of like Shrek, right? Pitchforks, grab your torches and pitchforks. Everyone's trying to kill the evil queen. And so him and Robin moved to the real Enchanted Forest, not the Wish Realm, to get away from Wish Realm Henry because he's kind of hunting down the assassin who killed his grandparents. So anyway, it did kind of bite back in the face in season 6 as well, I guess, huh? The fact that they were after the evil queen, and so they got sent back to this world. I mean, the real Enchanted Forest, not the real world. But yeah, the Wicked Witch. Um, didn't know what was going on, and so she's like, "Did you murder those guys?" And Evil Queen's like, "No, I'm not a villain. I didn't actually kill Snow and Charming. Regina did." And Wicked Witch wasn't here during the witch trial part, so she needs a lot of catching up to do. So Henry goes to steal the book because remember Archie took it from the sane asylum. Archie put it in his office, and Henry stole his book back. And before he could go away and put it in Emma's bag or whatever, and as she goes back to Boston, um, 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 Fiona, sorry, I forgot her name. Fiona, the Black Fairy, pushes Henry down the stairs, and because she has magic, she doesn't get away for killing her fake son. I say fake son because she's not really Henry's mother, but she's replacing the role of Regina in this alternate world. So anyway, she kills her pretty much her own a fake adopted son by pushing him down the stairs. He doesn't die; he just breaks his arm. But just so she doesn't get in trouble for it or get arrested for abusing her son like that, she erases herself from the cameras. Because there's cameras in the hallway, security cameras, and so she erases herself from the security camera, so it looked like Henry fell down the stairs by himself. Anyway, Rumple, so we're watching, Hook and Charming find a magic bean, but I just wanna catch up from what's happened after Henry's fall. Rumple and Fiona, you know, Rumple, makes a deal with Fiona to find out Belle's whereabouts, and Belle and Fiona's like, "Okay, fine, get in my car, I'll show you." So well, between the bridegroom and the father-in-law, come on, they both love Emma equally. You should both go up and get the bean. You shouldn't fight about who does it. But to be fair, well, in a normal situation, to be fair, the father has been with the child all their life, and the groom is just getting used to it. So it's like let them have a chance to be heroic. But at the same time, in Once Upon a Time, that's not the case because Charming abandoned his daughter. He's sent her away to protect her from the curse for 28 years, and so he's actually as new to as Hook is to Emma's life, and so they should have equal partnership in spending time with Emma and trying to save her. So I have an argument towards this. Why not? I mean, only one person can go up there, but still, it doesn't really matter. Charming could have gone up there too instead of Hook. Hook is looking for just like kind of Beauty and the Beast with the magic rose, the magic beans are put in inside a glass floating in the air, and he has to break it because because it's up a beanstalk and it's in a giant's place, it's a giant glass container with, beans inside. So you can't just pull it off with your hand like the beast does with his rose, right? You have to use a knife to break the glass and reach in and grab, a magic bean, and that sounds like either a giant or a dragon. Run! Nice pillow jump, huh? He didn't know there was a pillow there. He could have hurt himself jumping off that table. Luckily, there was a pillow. It's a dragon, so there are no giants up here. They're all extinct. Remember, Anton was the last one. The only people up here are dragons. They're blowing fire everywhere, so take cover. I'm actually very hungry right now. I never had dinner. So Fiona is showing Rumple what happened to Belle. She went to go see the world. She went to Paris and London, all those places. She always wanted to see the world. Wow, that's heartbreaking. Belle did always want to see the world, but it was heartbreaking, and that she wanted to see it by herself and not with Rumpel up here. Unfortunately, she did want to see the world. That is the world, not the world that she would actually like if she wasn't cursed, but it is the world. She didn't say she wanted to do it with Rumpel. She said she wanted to do it by herself. Available on Friday and June, except for June 5th. We have awards. Blackberry didn't know this before, but remember how Henry wrote scribbles about the final battle a couple weeks ago? It looks like Blackberry just found that out, and he's like, "Wow, Henry, what do you know?" It's a different language that you can't read because it's long lost in time. Henry, Henry's final battle page. Blackberry just found out about it. Remember how I've had family members bring me down dinner while I'm watching? I'm trying to see if I could get dinner brought down here because otherwise I have to wait an hour before I eat. So remember when Emma touched the book in season one? She instantly believed in magic and then broke the curse with Henry's true love kiss. Unfortunately, that didn't work now. Doesn't work anymore. Blackberry's curse is way stronger than Regina's. Emma can't just believe in fairy tales by touching a book. And Blackberry's trying to make Henry's safety as an excuse to not believe in fairy tales. If you continue believing in fairy tales, Henry breaks his arm. What if he breaks his neck or what if he dies? We can't have this happen. You have to break your delusion so Henry stays alive. That's a lie from the Black Fairy. Fortunately, Emma believes her. They just quoted the pilot when Henry was 10, and he's like, just because you believe in something doesn't make it true. That's exactly what makes it true. You should know more than anyone. They said that, like in the pilot. It was so cute. It's not as cute now because he has a more manly voice, but man, they rehashed the pilot right there. And unfortunately, it's not enough. Emma's going to destroy the book, and all the fairy tale characters are about to die. Whoa! We're only in like the last, like what, 2 minutes of this part one episode. This is not how, but unfortunately, this is not how this season's going to end because it's only it's a double length episode, half a finale, which I actually forgot to set up. Let me hurry and get it ready. You're about to destroy the book. Blackberry opens the furnace and hands Emma the book, about to destroy it. What an ending to this episode it's going to be. Oh, it's not a dragon. Hook and Charmin have bigger things to worry about. It's the destroy tornado that's destroying every fairy tale land. Emma slowly drops the book into the fire furnace. Oh, you can save our son now, Emma. Come on. No, don't destroy the book. Emma's destroying the book. She dropped it in the furnace. No last minute regrets. No last minute regrets. No last minute regrets. She destroyed the book. How sad! All the fairy tale characters are falling to their deathbed now. The tornado is sweeping them away. It's a billion tornadoes. Here we go. Man, if this was the end of the show instead of what we are going to get in part two, that would be so dramatically sad. If Regina even just said it's too late. Emma doesn't believe, and they're all dying at this very moment as Hook and Charming fall off the beanstalk into a black furnace, and Emma sees a page of Captain Hook burning to dust. No more Once Upon a Time book. It is all destroyed, and the credits are rolling, but they shouldn't be. I have pulled part two up. I am so ready to push play. I don't know if you are. Every time we have a two-parter episode, I tell you to bring two tabs up to have part two ready so we can watch it right after part one to make it one long episode. If you didn't do that, I'm sorry for you. The DVD, however, does have them together, so I hope you pause the episode at this point so you're in sync with me. Don't worry, we're not going to watch the recap on this one. I have skipped the recap, so no previously on Once Upon a Time. If you want to know where I'm at on Disney Plus, it's 45 minutes and 44 seconds. If I push play, it's going to show the title sequence. So if you're watching Hulu with a different timestamp, just push the Final Battle Part 2, Season 6, Episode 22, and push play, skip the recap, and then pause before it does the title sequence. You know, the do 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 do. Okay. All right. If everyone's where I'm at, 45 minutes, 44 seconds, I'm going to push play. Don't pause the video, pause the live stream if you're not ready. Push play when I say zero, 3, 2, 1, 0. And look, we go from a beanstalk to a submarine train underground. What does that have to do with the final battle? You'll find out. We're back to this little girl again. Remember the boy and the little girl from the beginning? They were running from darkness, and this little girl was destined to protect the book with her life. Um, and she left her father behind to get to protect herself from the darkness. Her father sacrificed her life for her, and the girl's coming out of the secret shack to see what happened to her father. It looks like he's gone. He fought as hard as he could. Now she's an orphan. Tiger Lily, remember her from Neverland? She's back. Woo! She's in the finale. She's a fairy again too. So this girl's mother is alive at least, so she's not an orphan. Prophecy, listen. It's a sad story. The thing that happens to every savior. Yeah. See, even Tiger Lily knows the prophecy. I mean, she was there when Rumpel was born. She knows what happened. So she's trying to tell she's trying to tell the girl that her father's going to be all right. He's alive and he's going to be all right, and you guys will be reunited when the curse breaks. Even whether that's 28 years, whether that's 100, you'll be reunited. Fairies have foreseen it. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to live happily ever after. But after that, maybe not. The final battle. There's a destiny that all saviors fight in the final battle, and they die. And I'm for telling that girl, saying, the future's cloudy. You will be reunited. After that, your father, he will be gone, and you just, the only, you know, she doesn't directly say that to her. She is a little girl, but they say, after that, you just have to be part. You just have to take what you learned from this Once Upon a Time book, and to remember never to lose hope. So yes, you may lose loved ones, but don't let that destroy you. You know, always believe in hope. You will be reunited again in the afterlife. Mhm. Luckily for this girl, she knows she'll see her father again in this life, but after that, she's just gonna have to trust in the afterlife. So again, we've been introduced to a lot of saviors in this show. Rumpel, Emma, we always knew she was a savior. Rumpel, Aladdin, and this girl's father, who I know who he is, but I'm not gonna spoil. So, sorry, I've been talking about that first scene for so long. Let me tell you what else has been happening. Black Fairy comes back with the ashes of Henry's book. She shows Henry that Emma burnt it and that it's all in shreds now. It is. It's just pieces of brown paper, and that was what the remains of it were. And she destroyed Emma's belief, obviously, and it's breaking Henry's heart. And Henry's going to find a way to still stop the Black Fairy, even though he knows the Black Fairy already won, technically. Rumple and Hook fell off the beanstalk, and only Hook survived. Charming is knocked out. Let's hope he's not dead, right? It's kind of funny that Hook called Snow White mommy, and Jasmine wasn't there when they got married, so she's like confused. And she's like, yeah, there was a wedding, and that's gonna be some getting used to, right? Okay, go back to Emma. Listen to your mother-in-law, unless you really want to ruin your marriage by not listening to her. Listen to your mother-in-law. So Black Fairy got Emma to leave Storybrooke. She cast the curse so that Emma would leave Storybrooke. Without our protagonist, there are no happy endings. That's kind of sad. Bye, Emma. Come back. Henry tried to get her to stay one last time, and she still said, "Sorry, I have to leave because you still believe in fairy tales." And I'm like, "No, it's true. Sorry, kid. Bye." There she goes, leaving Storybrooke, and we are leaving Storybrooke after tonight, literally, actually. Oh, now, yeah, now we're in Boston. Great. So this is not the apartment we saw in season 3. This is the one we saw in the pilot. This is we haven't seen this apartment in ages, honestly. There's her candle from her 28th birthday. She left it there for 2 years or 3 years, or technically, according to the show, it's actually 4 years. I don't know what the writers are thinking. It's okay. You can mess up in your own show as well because, there's too many plot lines and too many things to keep track of. It's easy to lose track. Yeah, no show is perfect. So, Henry snook it. So even though Black Fairy burnt the book, Henry wrote a new one, and he had very little time to do it, but he did it pretty quickly, and, he snuck it in Emma's bag before she left, and she's like and he wrote a little note saying, "I know the story's true, and it can still have a happy ending, and you might not believe it, but I know that it's true." Emma's like, "Oh, Henry, one last ditch effort to stop your mom from leaving," and she already left to Boston. But she's gonna read Henry's book that he wrote, and she's gonna change her mind. Thanks, Henry. That was the one thing you needed to do. Emma's like, "How does Henry know I gave him a kiss?" So in this timeline, Emma did still kiss Henry in the forehead, but it didn't break the curse, you know. And so Emma's realizing, well, he was in a coma. How did he know I kissed him? It wasn't true love's kiss, right? But how did he know I kissed him? Well, there you go. Maybe that's what gets Emma to believe. He just reads the handmade book that Henry had to write because they destroyed the real book. If you destroy a real Once Upon a Time book, you have to make one. So Regina's putting her trust in the evil queen to stop the tornadoes from. She's using her magic to stop the tornadoes from destroying them. Every world has been destroyed, but the Enchanted Forest by this point, and they're trying to prevent those tornadoes. If they leave the Enchanted Forest, they're dead. So they're trying to prevent those tornadoes from coming near them. And yeah, evil queen's gonna sacrifice her life, but hey, she's a double gainer. Doesn't mean Lana is leaving the show. We still have Regina, right? Snow White, give Charming True Love's kiss. Kiss her. Kiss him. Hey, this is a flashback from the pilot. They're really giving us the time when Charming kissed Snow White, and Snow White's returning the favor. Like they're really putting the beginning of the show on its head because it started with the end of Snow White. When Charming wakes her up from the sleeping curse, that's how the Snow White movie ends. When Once Upon a Time, that's how it began, and they're just rehashing it. because now Snow White is the one waking Charming up, and he's not even in a sleeping curse. He's just knocked out. Hi so I guess True Love's Kiss doesn't break any spell. True Love's Kiss restores everything. With True Love's Kiss, you could wake someone up from a coma. True Love's Kiss, you could wake someone out who's been knocked out. I don't get how that logic makes sense because it wasn't a sleeping spell. But anyway, Charming learned through his knockout that darkness never wins, and it just fools you into thinking it does, giving Snow White hope and hope for the future, and them winning the final battle. So happy, yeah, happy hoping for them, and what a lovely romantic moment that was. Henry still goes back there, and Rumple's like, "Hey, yeah, out of my shop." There's this saying that says, grandparents love their grandkids more than their kids. Rumple, you'll see in this scene, all he cares about is Belle and his son Gideon. I'm like, hey, Henry's your grandson. Put him first. Gideon and Belle can wait. Mhm. Wow. So Henry, even though Rumpel has broken your heart several times and betrayed you several times, you're still willing to go to him for help. Obviously, the rest of your family who that's not cursed is in another world and you can't get to them. So yeah, Rumpel is kind of a last resort. But I'm surprised Henry wanted to put his trust in Rumpel and Rumpel refused to help him because all he cares about is Belle. Again, Rumpel! Henry's your family just as much as Belle is. You can't put him second. Hey, it's not like Belle's gonna die in a second. It's not like she's on her deathbed. You should work with Henry. Work with Henry. And then friend Belle, honestly. All he cares about is saving Belle. Unfortunately, no one wants to help Henry break the curse, and so he's gonna try to go on the Black Fairy on his own, and that makes both of his moms and the Champ Horus, Regina and the Evil Queen, worried about him. Honestly, and they can't do anything to stop him and protect him. Henry is in a danger zone. Crazy. So this is when the Evil Queen is sacrificing her life to save everyone. Yeah. Unfortunately, they can't stop Henry from fighting the Black Fairy and potentially killing himself, but they can at least save the fairy tale characters from the fairy tale land, right? He's going to sacrifice her life for them to protect everyone. you wanna start right after the ice cream? I need food. Sorry, I just texted my parents. Anyway, can't believe we're finally at the final battle. Wow. I feel like didn't we just start part 2? That's crazy. Well, we're not even halfway through the episode, so there must be a long happy ending at the end. So hang on. So so I'm supposed to give commentary on all this. Let's see what's happened. Henry tried to get help from Rumple, but Rumple refused because all he cares about is Belle. Henry's going on the Black Fairy alone. The evil queen sacrifices her life. And just to save all the fairy tale characters that are in the fairy tale world, and sadly they can't stop Henry from finding the Black Fairy though. That's a death sentence, honestly. Luckily, Emma did read the book, and she butched out of Boston to come back to Storybrooke, and luckily, that's impossible because you know, it probably takes at least a couple hours to drive from Boston to Storybrooke and Storybrooke to Boston. So there's no way Emma could have made it back in time before Henry killed himself by the Black Fairy. But because they don't care about continuity and stuff, and Once Upon a Time, they'll just have Emma poof her way without magic back to Storybrooke just to stop Henry seconds before entering the Black Fairy's office. Honestly, Emma did save Henry's life, so I'm glad that's good. That's good that she stopped him from a death sentence of the Black Fairy, right? But you know, honestly, how did she do it? And how did she get back? How did she drive back to Storybrooke in that nick of time? How did she drive? How did she come back that fast in just minutes? Honestly, maybe it took a while for Henry to decide to maybe it took a while for Henry to try to get Rumple's help and then grab a sword. He grabbed Charming's sword from Rumple's shop, and he grabbed the magic mirror to talk to everyone, in the fairy tale land. And so anyway, Henry's not going down without a fight, but remember he's still kind of a teenage child. He shouldn't try to fight the Black Fairy alone. Well, not the real Emma Swan. She's still cursed. She doesn't remember, but she believes in fairy tales again. So yes, technically she's half back. Mhm. Yeah. Man, I've been waiting a long time for Henry to translate it to English, and Blackberry's gonna finally translate the key to winning the final battle. Fortunately, it's in the wrong hands, though. If anyone should translate it, it's the heroes. They need to figure out what it says and to learn how to win the final battle. Centuries? You've been alive for centuries? Woo! Wait, this is a land without magic. How did you do that? Like remember when the curse was first cast? There was no magic, so you couldn't do anything. Rumble brought magic after the curse was broken. If you're gonna erase all that, there should be no magic here. That's another plot hole. Maybe Black Fairy didn't want to roll Storybrooke without her magic, so maybe she put some self. se- Maybe she put some self face in the curse. Um, what is it called? Sorry, I'm butchering the name. She put a self. She put a. Uh, can't. Okay, whatever. She put a self face in the curse to keep her magic and stuff. So she put a little. I yeah, whatever. So by the way, Rumple did find Belle, and she is scared of him, obviously, and she tries to hide. Um, let's see. The Black Fairy gets her wand. She translates the final battle page that Henry wrote at because he's the author. And yeah, and then she commands Gideon to kill Emma Swan, and uses the secret formula to win the final battle. Unfortunately, she has the upper hand because she knows how to win, and the heroes don't. So that's not good. And Rumple comes back to stop her. Black Fairy is trying to convince Rumple to join her because the Black Fairy is Rumple's mother after all, like mother like son, right? Rumple's always yields to temptation and doesn't learn his lesson, and so Blackberry thinks she can convince Rumple to join her again. She just betrayed you, Rumple. I don't think you want to. She just betrayed you. Don't do this again. She's getting Rumple to join the Black Fairy again, and with the promise of bringing back Bellfire, her long lost son, and bringing back Bell and Gideon. Yeah, don't trust your mother. She betrayed you once. She's probably once a traitor, always a traitor. She's gonna just betray you again, Rumple. Magic comes with a price. Exactly. You learned that. The price for not killing your mother meant that you lost Belle and you had to raise Gideon alone. Now, now, that's what Henry's note said. Darkness cannot snuff out the light. It's not strong enough. Only light can snuff out light. Wow. Yep. Rumble's gonna kill his mother. Cold blood and murder. No, that sounds evil, but it's not. Rumple, is done with her. The only way to get rid of her without falling into her temptation is to kill her. So yes, Rumple didn't fall for her trick this time. Unlike 2 episodes ago in the musical episode, she didn't fall for his mother's trick. He's done betraying his family. So he decides to pretend to join her by getting close to her and then grabbing her magic wand and using it against her. And yeah, he thought that was going to stop the final battle, but it's not. He knows that, but at least he killed his mother, so that he could help his family and not betray. Black Fairy is a great influencer. Don't want to fall. Don't, you want to choose the right. use your agency. Don't don't fall into her temptations. Black Fairy's dead, but but just in time for Gideon to kill Emma Swan. Black Fairy left Gideon with one last command to kill the Savior no matter what. So even though Gideon's a good, kind-hearted soul, he's still forced to kill Emma Swan. Even though Black Fairy is there not to make his choices and take his agency away, he doesn't have his agency back yet until after he kills the Savior. So unfortunately, oh well. Forced to kill. See, the difference between the Rumple and Gideon is that killing the Savior is wrong, but killing the Black Fairy was not. She needed to be gone for all our sakes. She's the one who created Cruella or Slimmer. Black Fairy is the one who created the Snow Queen. Black Fairy is the one who created everybody. Now that she's gone, after we stop Gideon, there's no more evil. There's no more evil. Why everyone can live happily ever after, and we won't. We definitely don't need a season 7. Season 7's a plot hole, right? Because I mean, every show, every story has to have its opposite. Everything, every light needs to have its darkness. So evil's gonna always be reborn somewhere. But this could be the end for now. Happy ending for tonight, right? Except they have to stop Gideon now. Then she can stop Gideon. Then he can stop Gideon. Wow, Belle twisted her ankle and she's giving up her life so that Rumple can go save their son. He's like, no, we're racing against the clock. We're racing against the clock. Don't heal my knee. Do not heal my knee. Just go, go, go. You know, she's willing to let Rumple put their son first before herself. So, anyway. That is a wonderful thing. You know how after you get married, you go on a honeymoon? Well, not for Emma and Hook because they've been stuck in this final battle curse. What a honeymoon that is, right? After a wedding, imagine you just go off and live a fairy tale life where you don't know who you are, and then you have to die in the final battle. That's not the kind of honeymoon you would want to go on. Facing the Black Fairy. That is funny. It's nice to know that Emma and Hook are reunited, though. So when Emma started believing again, it stopped the tornadoes from killing all the fairy tale characters. They were all at the center of the Enchanted Forest, ready to be destroyed. And at the moment of being destroyed, Emma believes in fairy tales, which brings all the realms back and all the fairy tales back, but they're still trapped in the fairy tale land. And so then the only thing that's left is to break the actual curse, which Rumple does by killing the Black Fairy. And so Rumple does actually become the ultimate savior by killing the Black Fairy and not Emma, right? And so anyway, he kills the Blackberry and it brings everyone back to Storybrooke. It breaks the entire curse entirely. And now we're back to where we were right after Emma Swan's wedding, Emma and Hook's wedding. So there you go. There you go. She's not evil anymore. Drop the E word. She's a good. Now you have two good queens. The evil queen's trying to make a redemption arc. Yeah. Try not to kill anybody. That's what you should do. If Emma kills Gideon, then light will be destroyed. If Gideon kills Emma, then light will be destroyed. Like, there's it's a trap. Anyway, Emma Emma's like the protagonist and Gideon's the antagonist. Uh, Forcefully though. He doesn't want to be, but anyway, if evil kills good, then evil wins. If good kills evil, then good dark becomes evil and wins, and evil wins again. So how do you? It's a trap. because killing's wrong even if you're a hero. So anyway, if Emma kills Gideon, it's bad. If Gideon kills Emma, it's also bad. So yeah, so when Emma was the dark one, remember how she was being tempted by uh Rumpelstiltskin in her head, same with Hook. Well, we never saw Rumple being tempted before, and this is him being tempted by the darkness. And so now you can see why Rumple keeps betraying his family, and it's not just because he's the dark one, but it's because the darkness has been too much and he's been tempted. Which is why he should not stole back the darkness in the first place when Hook destroyed it. That's the worst sin Rumple's probably made in the show. But anyway, he's finally given the ultimate test to choose good over evil, and that's what he's doing. He's refusing his evil devil on the shoulder. He's refusing his evil altar and choosing the angel side of being a hero. He knows that if Gideon kills Emma, it won't, and and Rumple gets everything he wants with power and his family, and then he knows that it won't be real. It will all be a delusion. So Rumple, choose the right. Now that you know better, choose the right. Anyway, you can't always get what you want. So plot twist: Black Fairy put a protection spell on Gideon's heart, so Rumple can't even command Gideon to not kill Emma. There's a full protection spell on it. So even though Rumple wants to choose the right, sometimes you can't always get what you want. Sometimes you can't choose the right. Sometimes there's no right choice to choose. Oh well. You tried at least. That's what counts. There we go. Here's our final battle. Sword fight. Gideon and Emma. We finally made it after a whole season of build up. It's finally paying off. Some people it's not paying off in the way they want, but it is what it is. This is the ultimate payoff. No more final battle after this. There was one time we thought we were at the final battle, and Emma just told Gideon, "I'm not going to die today," and we knew that wasn't the real deal. This is the real deal. Even if Emma survives this, the it's not like there's still going to be a final battle in the future. It's actually the final battle right now. There'll be no more final battle after this. No, Hook's like, no, I just got married to her. Don't kill her. And Gideon trying so hard to resist, but he can't. He's like, I'm so sorry, Emma. I was hoping you could save us both. Oh well. 3, 2. That's a long pause. Why don't you just stab her already? Finally, Emma's dead. It took a while for Gideon to stab her. They had an intense fight. But then after Emma lost her sword like the Vision, he didn't just stab her right away. He actually talked to Emma for like 30 seconds. Come on, Gideon. I mean, the Oracle did say that the Vision would change, but the one thing would be the same. The Savior died. So the way of how she died did change a little, and I don't think it was by the sword with the red gem either. But anyway, the Vision might have changed slightly, but it's still the same. Emma died, regardless of how it happened. She died by a sword too. That's the also thing that stayed the same. Man, so they couldn't save Gideon after all, and Emma died. Here's a solution. What if you kill them both, right? Whoa. Again, true love's kiss breaks any curse, even death. Death is a curse, apparently, just like Snow's coma knockout from the beanstalk. Oh my goodness. I think the logic is a little too basic in the show. It's meant to just break curses, not just literally when someone passes out and dies or whatever. Anyway, they wanted to find a way around it so that Emma wouldn't actually die in the finale. Hmm. It's baby Gideon. He's a baby now. He turned back into a baby. How funny. I mean, the blackberry's gone. I mean, no one. Well, well, just like the curse, it should have gotten done right away. Like it should have been reversed. But honestly, Gideon is honestly though, even though it didn't happen right away, at least Gideon's now a baby again. And the black fairy's not alive to age him up. So Belle and Rumble can actually get a do over being parents to Gideon. They get to re-raise Gideon and hopefully raise him up righteously, unlike the black fairy. Right? He was a baby, and Belle was pregnant at the beginning of the season. Gideon wasn't supposed to be an adult. It's not like we jumped 28 years into the future. He just aged up in a day. That's all. Now he gets to have a real childhood instead of a fake short one, right? By the Black Fairy. Imagine you could only be a child for one day. That'd be sad. Be glad you get like what, 18 years, right? Listen, this is how the story ends. Yeah, it's not the end. It is at this point, but not the end. We still have more marathon to do. We got a reboot to start next week. So good and evil both did the right thing. Faith was restored and the final battle was won. But but no happily ever after the end because it's not the end. People get to live their lives and continue dreaming on and going on adventures, even if it's not on screen. There's even books based off them. Go write, go read the novels of Once Upon a Time. Anyway, we're not going to do that in the live streams though. We're just going to watch the TV shows. And so Emma Snow White gave a powerful speech, just like she did in the pilot. She says, "Believing in a happy ending is a powerful thing." That's what she said in the pilot. And now she adds on to this finale that almost could have been the end of the series, right? She adds on saying, uh, believing in a happy ending is a powerful thing, but living with that kind of belief, that's the most powerful of all. So what now? Now we get to live on with our lives, even if there's no more villains, no more people to fight. Now that the Black Fairy is dead and every evil has been defeated, you know, we get to go on with our lives. No more trials, no more adventures. I mean, we still get adventures, but the normal kind, and live a real happily ever after that doesn't involve the end. Like literally. And again, because the Black Fairy's curse is now broken, everyone gets transported back to where they came from. Not just our storybook characters, but like the Wish Realm. Not sorry, not the Wish Realm. The Jackal and Hyde Serum Evil Queen got put back in the Enchanted Forest with Robin Hood, and Aladdin Jasmine got put back into Agrabah. Same with all the Ozians. Everyone's back to where they everyone went back to where they came from, and they're living happy lives. Snow and Charming bought a house. They don't live in their apartment anymore, and they live on a farm. Charming bought a dog, and he's taking care of Neil while Snow White goes to be a teacher. Right? Anyway, yeah, Charming bought a dog. Again, it looks exactly like the dog we saw in a flashback earlier in season 6 when Snow and Charming actually first met and they didn't realize they met. Like, you remember that flashback? Anyway, if you don't, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with this finale right now. Uh, Regina and Emma are saying goodbye to Henry. Henry's going to school. He hasn't been to school in 6 years. Arguably, the show says 2 years, but he's 14. So I guess 4 years. 6 years for us, but 4 years for him. He's in school, learning science, a bunch of other things. Snow White is teaching everyone about birds, and she has decorated her whole stage with birds, with the bird nests and stuff. She makes teaching more interesting than she did in season 1 Curse. She's a way better teacher than she was in the pilot. Obviously, since Emma is sheriff and Hook is married, Hook is deputy. Hook is married to Emma. They're both sheriffs, you know? Since Emma's married now, Hook is the deputy. If Emma dies, Hook is the new sheriff. Just like Graham was with Emma. Emma was the deputy and Graham was sheriff. And then Graham died, Emma became sheriff. Is next in line. They're going around patrolling, honestly. And the seven dwarfs, who have now forgiven Regina of all her evil deeds, you know, is treating Regina like a true queen. Now they love Snow White as their queen, but Snow White has a baby to take care of. She can't handle the job, so they're letting Regina be mayor and getting all the. It's weird for Regina to get all the respect from the seven dwarfs because think about it. Those seven dwarfs are loyal to Snow White. How could they be loyal to Regina? Well, she's had quite the redemption arc, and Snow White's okay with it. So the seven dwarfs are on Team Regina, the evil queen or good queen, right? Speaking of evil queen, her evil persona, who just got a redemption arc this season, after falling in love with Wish Realm Robin, got proposed by Robin Hood, but not in person on one knee, of course. He shot an arrow from a distance with a wedding ring on it. And a note saying, "Are you ready for the next adventure? Will you marry me?" So Evil Queen and Robin Hood are actually getting married. In the Wish Realm. But the one that died in Storybrooke obviously doesn't get married to Regina, sadly. However, Regina's happy being single. Our Regina. It's fine. She has Henry. That's all the love she needs. And Emma. And Snow and Charming. And everyone else. Belle and Rumple are having a Belle and Beast dance, and we're listening to the songs of Beauty and the Beast from the Disney movie. Tell as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. My voice is getting tired, guys, but we're at the end. Now, it has to be after watching everyone get their happy ending. We have only one more thing left to do. Everyone, come to Granny's. We're going to celebrate. Come have dinner at Granny's. I don't want to interrupt your happy endings. I know everyone's being happy right now, but come on, let's have Granny's. Let's celebrate together. Inviting everyone to Granny's except for those in the Enchant Forest who can't come because they don't have a magic bean. We're inviting everyone who's in Storybrooke. So even though Robin and Evil Queen are not there, Regina, old Evil Queen, will be there, and we'll have the memories of characters that died, like Neil and Robin. Speaking of Neil, we have baby Neil with us, Rumple and Gideon and Belle. Yep, everyone's there, sitting at a giant table, having one final supper. Hey, it's like the final supper in the Holy Week. Final supper. Not really. You got a reboot coming, but final supper for this story, this cast, Storybrooke, this majority of the show. Everyone's sitting at the table with them in the center. They kind of went sacrilegious here, with Christ being the center of his apostles on the Last Supper, doing the sacrament. They're having a dinner table with him in the center, and she was the savior in the story. So, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Closed book. But someone's holding the book. It's that girl we saw in flashbacks at the beginning of part 1 and 2. She's in Seattle. So we're going from Storybrooke to Seattle. No more welcome to Storybrooke. We're no longer near New York or Boston. We're going to Washington, Seattle. I don't have a Washington, Seattle shirt. I'm very sorry. So I don't know what to wear for the next live stream, honestly. But this girl is coming up to an apartment. Same number as Emma Swan's. 8:15. Only it's not going to be Emma who answers the door. Knock, knock. There's the guy. There's her father. Hello? Yeah. I'm your daughter. Yeah, you do. Now come on, your family needs you. I know this by heart. I know the lines. I can quote everything from this last thing. End of episode. Roll credits. So, what a night, guys. What a night. We have faced a long final battle. And most times we watch Once Upon a Time, even if it's 3 episodes, we watch 3 different things. So, this was all the same episode title. Final Battle Begins was the recap special. Final Battle Part 1, Final Battle Part 2. Really, it was Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. It was a 3-hour event, which took the whole night, right? And because there was no commercial breaks, we managed to do it in 2 hours and 15 minutes, obviously. The only time we ever posted a live stream till 10 was when we did 4 episodes, and we don't do that anymore. All right, well, the credits just finished as well. So, what a night What a night, guys. It was so much fun to do this with you. Um, so yeah, now we just got some time to just talk. I'm confused because my Facebook live stream says 2 hours and 25 minutes. So according to Facebook, we got 30. And we got 15 minutes left. But I do remember we started Facebook way later than YouTube. YouTube says we've been live. Oh, it doesn't have a timestamp. Never mind. I know it started earlier, so I think it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. So um about 10 minutes left. So I guess really because I started a little late, that really just took an hour and 2 hours and 20 minutes, but really it was 2 hours and 10. We didn't talk much in between episodes, which was great. It bought us back the time for starting at 7:10. Also, the recap special was 3 minutes shorter than the average episode of Once Upon a Time, 43 minutes. It was 40, so it took 3 minutes off the 7:10, so 7:07. And since we didn't talk in between episodes, that took like the rest of the time off. So anyway, what a finale. We had the Savior fight the final battle, Emma Swan. She did die temporarily, but True Love's Kiss brought her back to life. That's one way to resurrect the dead, obviously. The show really went off their logic in that finale, and it goes worse in season 7. But if you stop comparing it to the first 6 seasons of the show and you don't pay attention to the details, you can enjoy it for what it is. So I look forward to doing the reboot with you guys. But really quick, so just at the end there, it was just revealed that the man who is this girl's father, his name is Henry, and the daughter is Lucy. So now we're going to follow the adventures of Henry and Lucy. We're done with Emma and Henry. That story has closed. Henry is now a grown adult. He's the new protagonist. He's going to take over, and it's going to be him and Lucy from here on out. So again, the end of one book and an open of a new one. A new book opens, and if you ever go search up the Once Upon a Time trailer, ABC Studios it basically says a new book opens when Once Upon a Time returns on a new night. When it aired on ABC, it was Fridays. At 7 Central on ABC. Right? It was Fridays. I think we might do Thursdays so that I can still do 3 episodes a week. Most people voted for 3 episodes, so I think that's what we're sticking with. If you want this live stream, if you want this marathon to last longer, I'm sorry. I wanted to see if people wanted to do 2 or 1 episode, but no, we'll stick with 3, which means the marathon's going to end in June, the very last week, Father's Day or the week after. I can't remember. But we're down to the final season and the final 2 months. These were the episodes we were supposed to watch just before our year mark. If I didn't get sick, if I didn't go on a cruise, if we didn't have to cancel a couple times. So, even though we're a little over a year already, and it's already almost been a month since our year mark, this is literally considered where I wanted to be by year mark's end. And I said this marathon was going to last a little over a year and 2 months. And now it's going to be a year and 3 months. So, because even though it's been 1 month, we still have 2 months left. 1 more season. And so anyway, so season 7, man, okay. So yes, I pre-warned you. It's a, reboot. So anyway, it's like starting all over in a new series. But luckily for you, we're not going to spend a year on this one. This one's only 1 season, and it doesn't even have a spinoff. So yes, this time it will go by really quick. It's like watching Once Upon a Time from the beginning, but it's different, right? It's only 1 season. So, but yes, it didn't air on Sunday nights, so it doesn't feel appropriate for Sunday nights. So season 7, it feels more appropriate to do it on Fridays. And to be honest, I was actually planning on quitting my current job right now. And since I haven't quite done that yet, I'm not available on Friday nights to do this. I was hoping I would be available. I guess I could have changed my schedule, but what's the point if I'm about to quit in the coming weeks or month? And so anyway, so yes, if we did Fridays, we'd only have time for 1 or 2 episodes. 2 episodes probably from 7 to 8:30 instead of 9:15. So since I don't want to do that, I guess we'll have to do Thursdays. Thursdays is when Once Upon a Time in Wonderland aired. Now, funny thing is when we did Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, I wanted to move it to Thursdays, but a lot of you voted for Sundays to stay on Sundays, so I respected that. It did feel weird knowing that it aired on Thursdays and we watched it on a Sunday. But hey, you know what goes around comes around, right? So why not just do the same with season 7? But again, don't want to watch it on Sundays, so this time we're gonna correct our mistake. But at the same time, we're not gonna watch it on Fridays either because I still work on Fridays. Um, Even if I do quit and we're still in season 7, I think we'll probably just stick with Thursdays for the rest of the marathon since it's only one season, and most likely by the time I quit, we'll be halfway through the season anyway with just a couple weeks left. Why change it? So anyway, so yes, so I think so. Drum roll, please. I think for now on, I did mention this before. I said if we moved it to Fridays, it would be this Friday. If we moved it to Saturdays, it would be this Saturday. I don't want to start the season till May. So here's the catch. This Thursday is April 30th, so that means we're not going to do it this Thursday. Okay, if we chose to do it on Friday, we would do it this Friday because that's May 1st. But since it will still be April on Thursday, we're not going to do it until next week on Thursday. So it's going to be a week and a half before we start season 7. It will be May 7th. It will be as far as trying to start Once Upon a Time on the first week of May. May 7th is the latest because there's 7 days in the week, and May 7th happens to be the first Thursday of May. So we're gonna start pretty late in the month, pretty much. And yeah, otherwise it would be on May 1st, which is the earliest in the month. Anyway, so May 7th, Thursday, May 7th, we're gonna start season 7. So let me rephrase the Once Upon a Time title for you. As ABC quoted, find your story when a new book opens and Once Upon a Time returns on a new night. In the trailer, if I ever send you the trailer, it's going to say Fridays, but let me correct you for our marathon. On a new night, Thursdays, beginning May 7th at 7 Central on my YouTube channel and Facebook page. So anyway, we'll see you then. But yes, I'm going to miss the Sunday nights. I'm going to miss Storybrooke, and I'm going to miss half of our cast. So anyway, it's going to feel like a whole different show, I know. But the marathon is still going on. That's what counts. And we're still starting at 7 p.m. No longer at 6:50. We're going to only start 2 minutes early. It takes time to start the show after the live stream starts, so I can't just start right at 7. But also a new time for the live stream is not going to be 6:50. It's going to be 6:58, but the show will still start at 7 on Thursdays. It's weird. Again, it feels wrong because only Once Upon a Time in Wonderland belongs on a Thursday, not season 7. But hey, I work on Friday. We got to work around my work schedule. So anyway, so yes, Thursdays beginning May 7th. So I'm going to send that schedule out, change our schedule a little bit because it's we're still on the Sunday schedule of doing it every Sunday till the series ends. I'm going to make some changes to the schedule. I'll send it out to you guys. And yeah, and also my live stream, my Facebook live stream expired today. So I'm going to have to create a new event. So anyway, look forward to that. If you're wondering if you're going on to this page and wondering where I'm at, I had to start a new live stream because it expired. It was going to expire. So I know it's been over a year. Facebook has not expired on YouTube, but on Facebook, when it comes to doing live streams on a weekly basis, they can only let you do 1 year at a time, which is 52 weeks. Originally, because we started earlier in April, the expired date was going to be Easter weekend. But I remember after our first weeks of doing Once Upon a Time season 1, I accidentally canceled the event and had to remake it. So what I mean is, I was trying to do it to where I could add more weeks after we've done a few after we've passed a few Sundays. I thought maybe I could create a new event or add some weeks to the previous one. Anyway, I failed and ended up deleting the whole event, and it was a shocker because I thought I was going to lose my whole marathon and my whole publication of it, and because in order to do a marathon, you have to make the public aware of it and you have to advertise it. I by deleting the live stream event, I deleted the advertisement of it, and so there probably have been some people who started watching the marathon with me and thought we weren't doing it anymore. I tried sending a post out to those to as many people as I could. that, and I can't control whether social media sends it to the right audience or not, but I tried to send it back in April 2025. I tried sending it, after we done our first 3 live streams. I tried sending a thing out saying I accidentally deleted it, but we're still doing the marathon. Come join us in May. Here's the new event link, yada yada. Anyway, because I made a new event at the end of April, at least I didn't accidentally delete that one afterwards, right? I learned my lesson. But even though I didn't delete it, it has expired though. And originally, again, because we were supposed to finish season 6 on Easter weekend originally, it was supposed to originally expire on Easter weekend. But because I canceled it a few weeks later, I had the opportunity to do a few more weeks, starting all over with 52, right? Anyway, and also we canceled a few weeks as well, leaving us to still finish to still finish season 6 when the marathon expired. Anyway, because the marathon has expired, I have to create a new marathon, a new Once Upon a Time group page. But hey, guess what? It's a reboot anyway. It deserves its own separate thing, right? Anyway, so I will get the new page set up. And I might want to do new posters because I'm tired of just putting all of them on as my thumbnail. So yes, I'll do a season 7 poster. Yes, a new book opens, and we're gonna return on a new night. Still 7 p.m., but the live stream's not gonna start as early as we used to, and no Q&A or no talking too much at the end. So we'll probably end at 9:15. Man, so in that regards, we could almost do Friday if I was allowed to be 30 minutes late every Friday, right? Fortunately, I don't think that's how my boss will see it. Once upon a time is not worth losing my job over. I kind of do want to lose it though to get a new job, but it's better to wait until one lines up. So anyway, so yes, Thursday is going to be our night since I don't work those nights, and plus, actually, it's spring break, and a lot of people are going on spring break trips. And as far as college goes, I'm on spring break this week. I was last week, but I have 2 weeks of spring break anyway. And because so many people at my work are going on trips as well, I actually volunteered. My boss wanted to know if I could work on Thursday night this week, and I actually said yes before knowing that I would probably move the marathon to Thursdays. So anyway, but again, that's April 30th, and I said I didn't want to start till May anyway. And so anyway, I mentioned even before my boss asked me to that I was going to wait until Thursday in May. So anyway, I said so at the latest we could start Thursday, at the earliest Friday, right? Anyway, so I wasn't going to do it this Thursday anyway. But yes, assuming that no one else goes on vacation, I mean, usually when my boss asks me to work an extra day, I usually say no because of college anyway. I'll just use the college excuse if it ever happens again. But anyway, because I'm not obligated to work Thursdays, therefore I could choose my marathon over work on Thursdays, but not Fridays because I'm obligated. So anyway, so yes, so Thursday, May 7th, especially since I work this week actually on a Thursday. I usually do Institute as well, but so far I don't think I'm signing up for Institute this next semester. I think I'm taking a break. If I do Institute, it'll probably be on a different day, so I could do this marathon on Thursdays. All right, but anyway, it's kind of weird that we kept Wonderland on Sunday, and then that we're doing season 7 on Wonderland's airing day. Anyway, it's weird, but anyway, sometimes maybe it would be nice to actually view this show on the days it aired, like have Wonderland be on Thursdays and have season 7 be on Fridays, but not for this marathon apparently. But sometime in the future that would be cool to feel the Friday nostalgia and the Thursday nostalgia for the right shows. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when we do this marathon. I just love doing it with you guys. But yes, we'll do it. We'll do it on Thursday, May 7th. See you all then. I think that's all the announcements I have. God be with you till we meet again. I guess until I guess I could still say until next week, but by next week I mean a week and a half, so not next Sunday. But yes, I'm gonna miss these Sunday live streams, and I know the moment I click end stream, that's it for Sunday. So I'm just trying to cherish every moment. Sorry for talking too much. Okay, but yes, it is time to end the live stream. I started a few minutes late, so having it end at 9:35 instead of 9:30 is fine. All right. As usual, I'm gonna end Facebook first. Oh, I did find my YouTube timestamp. It says 2 hours and 41 minutes. I think it was like 2 hours and 28 minutes. I said earlier I didn't know how long the YouTube stream has been. Anyway, I'm going to end the live stream at 2 hours and 42 minutes. And then for Facebook, that's 2 hours and 39 minutes. Wow, Facebook's a little shorter because it started a lot later than YouTube. So anyway, Facebook, you're shorter than the average time, but YouTube, you're a little overtime. All right, okay, sorry. I'm just rambling on. But bye guys. God be with you till we meet again.